Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into a really timeless story about friendship, priorities, and a promise that gets broken. And the most amazing thing is that this whole story comes from just a single short poem written over 1,200 years ago by a 9th century Korean scholar. So, let's get into it. I mean, we've all been there, right? You make plans, you're excited to just hang out, enjoy a simple moment together, and then you get that text. So sorry, totally swamped at work, can't make it. It's such a universal feeling, that little sting of disappointment that says a lot about our modern world. Well, it turns out that feeling is anything but modern. A poet named Choi Chi-won, who lived way back in the Silla dynasty of ancient Korea, he captured this exact same emotion in a poem that is just packed with wisdom about what we value and what we risk losing when we get our priorities mixed. The entire story, believe it or not, is pretty much summarized right in the title of the poem. It's an incredible example of how much meaning you can pack into just a few characters. So this is what it looks like in Hanja, which are the characters they used in classical Korean literature. Each one of these symbols has its own sound and its own meaning. There's a real beauty to it. Now, let's see how these characters actually build the entire narrative. Okay, so this is where it gets really cool. Let's decode this. Chun-il means spring day. Y'all is the verb to invite. Then you have ju, which is this beautiful term for a close, dear friend, someone who really gets you. And finally, bil-ji-o, it just means does not come. So you put it all together, and the title is literally, on a spring day, I invited a friend, but he did not come. The whole story right there. Now, the poem begins in a place you might not expect. It's not about the broken promise, not yet. It starts with a look back into the poet's own difficult past. And this first line is so important because it explains why this spring day means so much to him. 매혹 장안고 고신. You can almost hear the weight in those words. The poet is looking back, remembering something tough, a time of real struggle that completely shaped how he sees the world now. So let's break down the key parts here. Chang'an was the huge, bustling capital of the Tang Dynasty in China. For a Korean scholar like Choi Chi-won, it was the place to be for opportunity, but it was also a pressure cooker. And that second term, goshin, that means hardship, suffering. So the poet is remembering all the bitter difficulties he went through in that giant city. And this map just gives you a sense of it. He was far from home, trying to make his way in the heart of this massive foreign empire. It was not an easy time for him, and you can tell those memories are still pretty vivid. So here's the crucial point. Because he went through so much in his past, he now has this deep, profound appreciation for the simple things, for peace and quiet moments. All that suffering gave him a totally new perspective on life. And that new perspective leads us right into the second line of the poem. This is where he contrasts that goshin, all the hardship of his past, with the simple beauty that he now cherishes more than anything. 나감 해오 책고 원춘. This line is actually a question, and it's just filled with emotion. He's asking himself, and really, he's asking us, something incredibly important about how we spend our time on this earth. The key words to see here are guowon, which means his hometown, the place he came back to after all his struggles, and chun, which means spring. You can just imagine, after all the stress of the big city of Chang'an, the simple spring season in his quiet hometown must feel like the most valuable thing in the entire world. And listen, this isn't just about the nice weather. The hometown spring is a metaphor. It stands for all the fleeting, beautiful, simple moments in life that once they're gone, you can never get back. It's peace. It's connection. It's what really matters after you've seen what the rat race is all about. So now we get it, right? We understand the stakes. The poet has invited his dear friend to share this incredibly precious, meaningful moment. He just wants to connect, to enjoy the simple beauty he's learned to value so deeply. And then, the disappointment hits. Genjo wuyu jonyak. The line basically means, this morning you again broke your promise to go enjoy the mountains. And that word again, oh, that's what stings. This isn't the first time this has happened. It's becoming a pattern. And this slide just lays out the whole conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got the poet, who just wants to share in that hometown spring. But his friend, well, his friend is choosing something else. He's choosing ambition, success. The very things the poet has learned are not the key to a meaningful life. And the final line of the poem, wow,
It's a real punch to the gut. All that disappointment boils over into this profound, sorrowful realization about his friend, and maybe even about the way the world works.
회식 진정명리인. This right here is the heart of the whole poem's sadness. It's a moment of deep, deep regret. But what exactly is he regretting? Let's break it down. Okay, so 회 means regret. 식 means to know a person, to be acquainted with them. But the most important term, the real kicker, is 명리. 명리 literally means fame and profit. So 명리 is basically the villain of our story. It's the constant chase for status, for wealth, for worldly success, and it's what has captured his friend's heart and pulled him away. The full line translates to something like, I regret ever knowing a person who chases fame and profit. Oof. It's just a statement of profound sadness. But here's the thing. The poet's regret, it doesn't just feel like anger. It feels like it's coming from a place of deep care. He's not just mad that his friend flaked on him. He's genuinely worried that his friend is losing his soul to this endless pursuit of myungri. And that really brings us to the timeless wisdom of this little poem. First, that true friendship is all about sharing those simple, precious moments, the hometown spring. Second, that the endless chase for myungri, for fame and profit, is a massive distraction that can make us lose sight of what's real. And finally, and this might be the most beautiful part, it shows us that true friendship isn't just about having a good time. It's about caring enough to feel actual pain when you see a friend losing their way. So this 1,200-year-old poem leaves us with a question for our own busy, chaotic, modern lives. What's your hometown spring? What are those simple, fleeting moments of connection and peace that are just too precious to waste? And who are the people you want to share them with? That's the question Choi Chi-won leaves us. And it's a piece of wisdom that feels just as urgent today as it did in the 9th century.